Welcome back to another episode of the Nigeria Report. I'm your host, Pablo, and joining me as always is Mr. Brian Schultz. Marvel Roundup. Doomsday, more updates on things that are happening there. Spider-Man updates. We get to see the behind the scenes, like in real time almost. Daredevil. Unsure of whether this is going to have a season 2 or season 3. We don't know. But we'll talk about it and see where we should be heading and what we probably were expecting to see with Daredevil based on what where we last left off. But Doomsday, Brian, what's going on in Doomsday?
So as we've been talking about, so Fantastic Four box office. I feel like I got to make it like an X. Fantastic Four box office is going down and to the right at an alarming pace to where, as we said, now it may not break even, maybe in about 500 million global. And as that happens, it feels like the type of news and cameos and the types of things they're talking about in the rumor mill for Doomsday is going this way, in the direction of more crazy and maybe more predictable. So I heard a theory which kind of both fit the Marvel way, but also kind of made some sense to me, which was part of the reason the script for Doomsday is not finished is they're watching to see how Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four did so they could then react to how successful or unsuccessful those were and then pivot and rewrite and change Doomsday to try to get the fans more involved. So with that in your mind, is it a coincidence that within days of Fantastic Four's box office really starting to crater, Ryan Reynolds popped up on his social media with sort of a cryptic post that then led to confirmation that Deadpool is in Doomsday, but he's just not part of the Avengers team? Do you see any coincidence in that Ryan Reynolds was confirmed for Doomsday after it became clear that Fantastic Four was not the hit that Disney intended it to be?
When I saw that, I saw, of course, more desperation and more confusion as to what the hell is going on and what sort of movie is this going to be. But then there was other news after that he wasn't in Doomsday. But you're saying that he is in Doomsday, or they're saying that he is in Doomsday, but he's not going to be on a specific team.
Correct.
Okay.
So that was update number 1. Update number 2. Again, this is unconfirmed, but another thing that came out was the following list. My God, the data dump here. That the next batch of confirmations for Doomsday would include Tom Holland, Benedict Cumberbatch, Mark Ruffalo, Charlize Theron, Tatiana Maslany, Haley Steinfeld, Iman Vellani, Evangeline Lilly, Denai Guerrera, and Hugh Jackman. That was the second update. As if we weren't crowded enough.
That's how I feel, yo. Like, what is this that we're going to see? We're going to see people just say one line and that's it? I see this almost as a waste of time. This is a circus.
This is good. Gets a great description of what it's becoming. Yep.
I don't know what else to say, but we'll see. Because, again, we're heading to a situation where Spider-Man will outperform Avengers, which is crazy. And Avengers now reaching $1 billion. What do you say then? If Avatar continues to make the money that they're supposed to be making, why can't the Avengers? The Avengers that almost each movie that came out, except for Age of Ultron, that was a little bit lower, did it make more than the first?
What's that?
Avengers Ultron?
Avengers Ultron was like 1.3 billion. This first one was 1.6.
Okay. But they made $1 billion. Let's say, and then after that, it was just crazy. Infinity War and
$2 billion, and Endgame was 2.9. Yeah.
Crazy. Brian. These numbers are crazy.
Yep.
And for Avengers to give you Justice League money,
Oh, that is whack.
Yep.
that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen.
Update number 3. Remember how when they confirmed that Hemsworth was coming back, that they then said he's like the second lead of the movie? So it was like, okay, Downey's the lead. But then it was like Hemsworth's the second lead. OG guy. OG Thor, second lead. Okay. Then we got a report that Chris Evans was pulling a Garfield and he's in the movie. But now, think about the timing of this. Again, coming after Fantastic Four has disappointed. New rumors suggest Chris Evans' Captain America will play a huge role in Avengers Doomsday, providing a target for Robert Downey's Dr. Doom. This is not a coincidence. So think about that. Think about Endgame. Downey, Hemsworth, Evans against Thanos in the big scene to culminate the 12-year saga. And now they're saying in rumors, who are the 3 leads of this movie? Downey, Hemsworth, and Evans. After Thunderbolts disappointed, Brave New World disappointed, and Fantastic Four disappointed at the box office. If you see coincidence in that, I have sand in the desert to sell you, because this, you want to see what Desperation looks like?
Help me! Please!
This is what Desperation looks like.
It'll be interesting to see what the excuses will be from Kevin Feige. Bars.
Now, the entry point for Chris Evans in this, which I don't totally dismiss, is that they are going to use his last act in Endgame, where he went back to the past, put the stones back into place, and ended up with Peggy, as the event that kind of gets him on Doom's radar. I don't hate that. I'm not going to lie. I don't hate that as like, hey, we're finally going to give some meaning to that part of the adventure.
But it comes under these circumstances,
Exactly.
Brian.
Exactly. That's the problem. In this movie, you can't do that justice.
Is it gonna be a half-ass attempt at making this interesting? Whereas before, people were so interested in Captain America in the series of where, imagine how many episodes he has to take 5 stones, right? Imagine with 5 episodes of him attempting that.
Oh my God. Back in the peak of the streaming wars, if you had announced a Chris Evans Captain America show that was about this sort of journey to restore the stones and reach Peggy, that viewership would have been off the charts.
Crazy. But no, we got Secret Invasion instead. Go ahead.
So my point is simply, okay, if we have come to the point where Avengers Doomsday and all of its cameos has to ultimately land on the same original big 3, albeit in different sort of roles, then we really haven't gone anywhere for however many years. Like, that is such an indictment of the character development and the storytelling. I kind of lend credence to the idea that part of the reason this script is so fluid is they're just watching the returns in the box office and the trending social media to say, like, oh my God, we need Hemsworth back more. Oh my God, we need Evans back more. Oh my God, we can't give the new,
This is panic.
Pedro Pascal's only gonna be on set for 3 days now because we got to give more time to Tom Holland because that's all we got. Like, that's what it feels like, man. That's what I'm saying. Panic and desperation. That's what it feels like. And who wants to see a movie that was built on that? Like, you were thinking about like linkages and things connections don't make sense. Like, look at Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Like, that's a movie that tried to sort of give meaning to these random things in like Mission Impossible 3 and Mission Impossible 1. It's like, we didn't come to that series for that. That's not why we were there. It wasn't supposed to be the Tom Cruise cinematic universe. And that felt really forced and nonsensical in that final movie, that all of a sudden the rabbit's foot meant something. All of a sudden, William Dafoe was back from, manning his radar tower in Alaska. Like, it just didn't work. And that's what this movie feels like. It's like, we're going to force connections where there are no connections simply to get the same old people on screen in the hopes that people will fork over their dollars. You're not earning it. You're stealing it. And I don't think audiences are going to let you. I think at the budget level that this movie is going to be at, this movie's not making money. Because $1 billion, $1 billion gross for this movie is way in the red. Way in the red. This movie needs to make 1.5, maybe. There's rumors that it needs to make 2. Like, if that's your bar, that's not happening, man. That's not happening. Like, that's the thing is, like, I have a stat for you. We talk about China, right? So Endgame made almost $700 million in China of the $2.9 billion. Do you know what the highest grossing U.S. movie in China this year is? U.S. So not in Asia. The highest grossing U.S. made movie in China this year. What is it and how much has it made? Jurassic World. $78 million. Let me repeat that. Avengers Endgame made $678 million in China. The highest grossing U.S. movie in China in 2025 made $78 million. That means Avengers Doomsday, and by the way, Fantastic Four, $5 million. Superman, $10 million. That means Avengers Doomsday is basically going to make nothing in China. So right there, your starting point is lowered by $700 million relative to where you were in Endgame. This movie's not making money. No chance.
Simu Lu better not be in the room where they're looking at him like, we got to do something.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a second. You know who's kind of looking not so bad these days? Is Simu Liu and Shang-Chi. Think about it. Shang-Chi made $432 million worldwide in 2021 dollars when theaters were not fully open. I think 45% of U.S. theaters were not operating at full capacity. $432 million. That's about the same as Brave New World. That's more than Thunderbolts. That's more than the Marvels. And that's not far off of where Fantastic Four is going to end. And if you inflation adjust it, Shang-Chi with COVID limitations made more than Fantastic Four. If I was Simu Liu, I'd be like, what's up? Like, everyone else gets a sequel. I don't get a sequel? My movie looks better by the day. I mean, my director's directing Spider-Man. I can't even get a cameo. I can't even be a zombie in Marvel Zombies.
Very interesting indeed.
So none of this is good for Doomsday. I don't know. Like, I see no way that this movie is critically acclaimed. None. Because I think that people are going to go in with such a negative bent toward how this was put together. In which case, like, it just has the feel of like if you go see it, it's kind of like seeing like a 8-car pileup on the interstate. It's like, yeah, you slow down to check it out because it's like such a spectacle. But there's nothing in there that like you want to see.
Yeah, all right, I got to get back. I'm not going to go as far as to say I know it's not going to work, but I would, if I was put to the test, I would be like, yeah, if I was bold enough with somebody that's going to tell me that it's going to make too bad, I would be like, no, it's not going to make, I think it's going to fail. Right now, the likelihood of it failing is very, very high because of all the stuff that we're talking about that has perhaps nothing to do with the movie. Nothing to do with the story. Spivey 4994 continues every time we talk. What's the story? He keeps asking me the same question. What's the story? I don't know what the story is. We keep hearing little things here and there, but fine. I am curious to see what the story is, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, you know what event every year has a ton of stars making a ton of cameos? The Oscars. You ever seen the Oscars ratings trend lately? How's that looking? Do people like to tune in just to see stars for 2 seconds? No, sirree, Bob. So I'm just saying, like, and here's the last bit. The last bit. Saved it. Because he had the last chair and he was sitting in it. We got the headline. First headline we're waiting for. Robert Downey Jr. has already demanded Avengers Doomsday reshoots because some of his scenes didn't work.
Because he wasn't in it.
They were scenes with him, but he wasn't in costume. It was like a stand-in. So then he's like, I got to get in costume and I got to redo the scene with everyone. So that's more money, more budget. If you have any doubt whose production this is, that headline should tell you.
And we've been saying this ever since it was announced, ever since he showed up on stage. This is a Robert Downey Jr. production. He's calling the shots. Kevin, you can say that you're the man, but right now, RDJ is the man.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
You could spin it as like, oh, he's quality controlling and he wants that just basically means like nothing on this movie will get done unless he says it gets done. And it's like, That's not really how these movies are designed to work. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling his Doom. I think it's already hurting them in the sense, as we've talked about, where like they had to announce him. Everyone on the planet knows that he's Doom. There's no rush to seeing Doom on screen, with the mask off and fantastic. Like, there's no steam for this because they've already given away the surprise.
I think this is a perfect segue, Brian, if there's nothing
Yeah,
else. Because on the contrary, with Spider-Man, they're showing us all. We know who's Spider-Man. We know the suit. We know what they're doing.
exactly.
We know everything. And everybody can't wait to see what this is going to look like.
And that's not an accident either, by the way. This is also, I think, a reaction function to the disappointment, right, of the box office. They're immediately trying to flood the zone with these behind the scenes vignettes to show you like, hey, we got a Spider-Man movie. We got a Spider-Man movie coming too. We got Tom Holland back. I mean, I'm serious. Like, we're going to see like every set piece, the filming of every set piece before they put it together in a trailer.
And it's going to make $1 billion.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's I think a lock. I actually think that will make and the reason I say that is because No Way Home was not as international. So No Way Home was like 814 US and was like 1-1 international, right? So you could drop. My point is, you could drop that international piece a lot, which is what we should be doing. But if that domestic piece holds up at like 500, 600, they'll still get to that billion, and I think they will. Yeah. And I think that, as you said, the real question is, Destin Cretton did make a well-regarded, well-received, and as we just talked about, more of a box office success in Shang-Chi, as it looks like in retrospect, than we gave it credit for at the time. This idea of doing a practical, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is absolutely a good idea. Tom Holland as Spider-Man has been bankable. I mean, I think Homecoming was like 800 million. Far From Home was 1.1. Granted, these will all be a little lower today. No Way Home was 1.9. Yeah, I think there is a world where if this movie is good and looks cool and looks a little grounded and looks a little different, we could be talking about a real race between whether this movie makes more money and whether Doomsday makes more money, which is ridiculous on the surface, but absolutely, I think, in play. And the budget for this will not be $100 billion. Like, the budget for this will be a real blockbuster budget, and it'll be fine, I think, to make money hand over fist.
Yeah. Do we know who is it's Mr. Negative is the antagonist for this. And we have Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, who perhaps will make its reintroduction as the more savage Hulk. Hopefully we lose this smart Hulk bit within the first 10 minutes of this, because I'm tired of it. And then we have the Punisher, which is, I'm curious to see how he's portrayed or how he's involved in all of this. Do you want to move on to
Well, I was
Daredevil?
just going to say, I think that one thing for everything they're showing, one thing they're doing a nice job of is they're really putting the spotlight on Holland and some of the practical effects. What they're keeping the spotlight off of is some of the other, right, as you said, like the Mr. Negative, like, who is Mr. Negative? Like, how are they going to utilize that? Are there other, villains in the film? They continue to bait and switch over who Sadie Sink is actually playing in this movie. So there is actually a lot of intrigue here, right? Like how Avengers 5.5 is this? How Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is this? Like, they've done a good job, I think, of keeping that piece, at least in the people are talking about it, but don't have the answer. And in the meantime, they're giving you like a ton of this, like Holland on set, doing things practically as a way to sort of pitch this movie as looking different and feeling different. So it's kind of like everything they're kind of getting wrong with Avengers, they're kind of doing a decent job with this movie of like building some excitement, at least for what we might see. So
I still think Sadie Sink is going to be Mary Jane. I just think they're misdirecting us into thinking that she's not. But we'll see. And if she is Mary Jane, I think that she would be the perfect Mary Jane and the perfect love interest. I don't think we did this Doctor Strange forget thing. I think there is this rumor that the Hulk will not have been affected by Doctor Strange's spell, and he will remember Peter Parker. It's going to be interesting.
Well, it's also interesting because they haven't announced Mr. Negative, and I know there is a pretty large fan support for the actor who voiced and I guess portrayed him in the video game, the very popular Spider-Man video game. So Stephen O. Young is the actor who does that. There's a lot of people who actually just want him to be the live action version, but they haven't said yet. So I think that'll be a big piece of news that maybe we could get over the summer here now that they're filming.
Daredevil.
Stars at odds, just like in the show.
Yeah, right? You get one statement from Charlie Cox saying one thing, and then Vincent D'Onofrio saying one thing, and then we go back to Charlie Cox to get a confirmation, and there just seems to be a lot of confusion as to what's happening with the seasons for Daredevil. So the first comment that Charlie Cox made was that he didn't see or he didn't think that we're going to be seeing the season 3. He thought season 2 was the last. And I always thought, based on what transpired in the first season, that this was going to be a multi-season sort of situation where they tried to sort of defeat Kingpin. Something like this, I don't believe deserves. It's crazy how what Kingpin did and then what's happening in the world, right? It's like, that's why you can't blame James Gunn for what he wrote. It's just these things are just happening. But what's happening, Brian? With
so
Daredevil?
I mean, you kind of said and summed it up. Charlie Cox called Daredevil season 2 the final season. I mean, we know that this season was actually meant to originally be 18 episodes. They cut it in half. And so he basically was saying like the second batch of the original 18 is going to end this show. Then Vincent D'Onofrio said, no, there's a good chance there's going to be a third season. So they went back to Cox and he kind of walked away from his first comment saying he misspoke and blah, 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 blah. There might be a third season. But like we said at the time, because the response to the show was so minimal, I don't think it's in their hands. I think they're going to treat this season like the final season. And if the audience comes for it, then they can always revisit that. These shows will always leave some sort of breadcrumbs to where they can go forward. But I think given how poor the ratings were for this show, where none of the episodes cracked the Nielsen top 10, I think they will pull out all the stops. I think the Defenders will all be in this show, and they will treat it as a showdown with Kingpin by the end of season 2. And if it doesn't work out, that the audience isn't there, then that'll be it. And if the audience is there, they will find a way to create a season 3.
For some strange reason, Brian, I think Charlie Cox is over it.
You think he's ready to leave the part?
I think he's done.
That could be.
I think he's ready to do other things. I think the one who's enjoying himself the most is Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin.
That very well could be. The two of them seem to be really good friends, though, and sort of heavily involved in the creation of this show. So it would seem odd that one of them would be like on one wavelength and the other on the other. But like I said, I just think if they have another season where no episode is in the top 10, they're not getting a season 3. Well, why would Disney spend the money?
Yeah.
And we already know Kristen Ritter, right? We already know Kristen Ritter's in it. She filmed scenes. We know that Mike Coulter and Finn Jones were like spotted in New York at the time they were filming. So, I mean, I think they're going to go for it in these 9 episodes. And we know Bernthal will be back. We know Bullseye will be back. So, like, I think they're going to go for it and see if people actually care about these characters anymore the way they used to on Netflix.
Like if let's say season 2 is the last season and is well received and you have to pivot, it can't be Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin anymore. If you resolve the situation and they end season 2 and everybody loves it, let's do a season 3. But you can't go back to Kingpin we can't have Kingpin going back to jail and then coming back. It just gets like, come on. It's like, come on.
I mean, I was saying this show, he does better when he's incarcerated and arrested than he does when he's on the streets. He's had more control and more success when he's actually like been, in theory, controlled by the authorities. So,
yeah, right. But we'll see, man. This is an interesting situation with Daredevil because it didn't hit the way people thought it would, or the way Marvel perhaps thought it would. It's crazy. Me and Tracy were talking about it the other day, and we're like, it's crazy how we said, bring them all back. Bring the writers, producers, the showrunners, bring them all back. They didn't do that. They decided to go their own way. Then they decided after their failures, there's a lot of egos and prideful people and people who think that they can do something, and it really turns out that they can't. They spent all this money and it's not a success. I mean, again, Netflix, those seasons were just top notch. And to replicate it is difficult, certainly. But to go back to the people that did it, for them to come up with a story and film it the way they know they can, that's different. So this season 2 is going to be
Yeah.
telling.
No, this is a part and parcel of Bo DeMayo's talking about in our Bono show, right? He's talking about the approach and the process, and here it is on full display. Marvel outsmarted themselves, and they own gold this show because what you got was this hybrid of the way they wanted to do it originally before it got ripped up, and the Netflix people came in and kind of made it more like the original show, but it was awkward at points it was very awkward side by side in the same season. So season 2 at least will be somewhat cohesive, but the damage may have been done. Like the show may have been rendered irrelevant and people might not come back. Right? It's the anti-Andor, right? The Andor season 1 audience was not huge, but there was such a buzz that kept building to when they brought the season 2 back, it was like people were like, we're ready. Like, we're ready. Like I did her caught up, we're ready. And then by the time they got to the end of season 2, right, number 1 on the Nielsen ratings, like that, that's the opposite. That's the coherent, cohesive, unified vision of 2 seasons.
That is the regular guy who's seen the show telling the other guy, you gotta watch this. I don't care if you don't like Star Wars. If you haven't watched it, then you haven't watched good TV yet. Watch this. You make all the claims you want with Andor. You can say the most outrageous thing about Andor in terms of its greatness, and you will not be wrong. To try to convince somebody to watch Andor, it isn't hard because you're going to use and find big adjectives to describe what you saw with Andor to get people to watch it. And the same hasn't been for the rest of the MCU. Just hasn't. Let us know in the comment section below what you guys think of Doomsday, Spider-Man updates, and Daredevil, and the confusion there. Let us know what you guys think and what you guys think is going on with these things. And you're also just let us know what you expect from Doomsday. Are you excited about Spider-Man? And how do you think Daredevil's gonna finish? Should it finish with a season 2 and that'll be done? Or were you expecting season 2, season 3 based on what had happened in the first season? Let us know in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Nerd Report.